Why Paris Saint-Germain need to sign Bernardo Silva this summer transfer window. Let's get straight into this. Let me tell you about a little story. Ever since the 2012-2013 season, Paris Saint-Germain haven't signed a quality midfielder for its midfield. And guess who we signed in 2012? It was Marco Verratti. And ever since then, Paris Saint-Germain have been signing bums, players who have come here and underperformed, and just shit transfers. And here are all the midfield signings that we have made since the 2012-2013 transfer window. Yohan Cabaye, 25 million. Benjamin Stambouli, 8.6 million. Grejovdri Krychowiak, 27.5 million. Giovanni Lo Celso, 10 million. Lassana Diarra, free. Leandro Paredes, 37 million. Idrissa Gueye, 30 million. Ander Herrera, free. Danilo Pereira, 16 million. Rafinha, free. Jorginho Wijnaldum, free. Vitinha, 40 million. Renato Sanchez, 9 million. Fabian Ruiz, 23 million. Carlos Soler, 18 million, which equals to 244 million euros. That's the amount that Paris Saint-Germain have spent on midfielders ever since the 2012-2013 season. And guess what? None of them have had a big impact. None of them are left. The only midfielders that are left at this club is Danilo Pereira, who's now a centre-back, and the midfielders that we signed last season. Even Leandro Paredes is gone now. And there's so many question marks here over our previous sporting directors, mainly Leonardo and Antero Enrique, and even Justin Kluivert, for the job they did here. Because how can you sign these many midfielders and not a single one of them is still remaining at this club? I would actually say that the Lo Celso deal was a great deal. Getting him for 10 million was a great deal. We loaned him out with an option to buy instead of just a dry loan, and we got fucked up by that. But we need to move on. And also we had Adrien Rabiot. But Adrien Rabiot, that's a separate case. I mean, he came from the academy, played amazing, should have been a mainstay and still a Paris Saint-Germain midfielder. But sadly, him and his mom had other thoughts. And one other issue with us not being able to strengthen our midfield is, well, Marco Verratti, when he came to Paris Saint-Germain, when he had to compete within the midfield, was Javier Pastore, Blaise Matuidi, and Thiago Motta. Three amazing, quality, different, flexible, unique Paris Saint-Germain midfielders. So this means that he had great partners that took some way off the job of him so he could do his thing. And he was also a raw competition in that midfield. But ever since then, Verratti has had to do it by himself. Even in that memorable Liverpool game where we won 2-1 at the back, where Marco Verratti played as a lone midfielder against the high-pressing Liverpool system and absolutely destroyed them. But that's not sustainable. It shows Verratti's greatness. It shows Marco Verratti's greatness, but Marco Verratti's greatness deserves at least some kind of partner. The only player that I would say that played on the same frequency as him, I would say Rabiot at one time, and then Leandro Paredes. But apart from all the other signings, none of these midfielders have played on that wavelength that Marco Verratti wants. Luckily, Vitinha was actually a great signing, and we'll see in the future if his name is similar to the other candidates that I've mentioned, or that it's different. And this all comes to why we should be signing Bernardo Silva to Paris Saint-Germain. Bernardo Silva, one of his key strengths is his versatility. Can play as an 8, can play as a 6, and play as a number 10. So that means if a Neymar or Messi is missing, Bernardo can play. If a Marco is missing, Bernardo can compete. And the best possible option, of course, is a midfield duo of Bernardo Silva and Marco Verratti. These two magicians would create havoc against any midfield with their incredible press resistance, dribbling, passing, everything pretty much. They got it in the locker, and especially if you put behind them a ball-winning midfielder, that would be intense. But even as a two-man pivot, it would not be the worst thing as long as the centre-back can push up if we're playing a 3 at the back, for example, Marquinhos. And a player like Bernardo Silva should not be available at this rate. He's 28, wants to leave City, has a 150k a week contract, which is so little if you compare it to Paris Saint-Germain contracts. It mostly talks about how great City's wage structure is. And the asking price for Manchester City is only 55 million. So this guy shouldn't be available. This guy shouldn't be available for this price. So this is an amazing opportunity that Paris Saint-Germain can exploit here. A 28-year-old midfielder filled with experience. Unlike all the other midfielders we signed, all the other midfielders were supposed to be stoppages for 2 years, come here, do your thing, and then leave. Or they came here when they were 27 or something, but even then they weren't at the level, nowhere close to the level of Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva is a player that is actually so close to Marco Verratti's quality, it's crazy, it's intense, and I love it. It's exciting. And luckily, Paris Saint-Germain know about this. Because according to Mate Moreto, Justin, Luis Campos' priority for the midfield is Bernardo Silva. The Portuguese is looking for a new experience and wants to leave England this summer. More, his preferred destination is Spain, but for Barca the price and salary seem unattainable. PSG are willing to fight for his signature. So, what this means is there isn't that much competition for Bernardo Silva. Of course, he's already played in Ligue 1 at Monaco. And guess who brought him there? It was Luis Campos. So if he is the sporting director for the next season, which is the most likely scenario, that will give us an edge in trying to sign Bernardo Silva. His wage helps us a lot, even if we add a bit more on it, which he definitely deserves. It wouldn't be a hard thing to do. And Barcelona, as they mentioned, it would be very hard for them. And it's not one of the main issues Barca have, a midfielder. So they will be looking at other targets, prioritizing other targets than signing Bernardo Silva. So as long as we just take it easy, talk with Bernardo, talk with City, it should be a done deal by this summer. And I hope that Bernardo Silva joins Paris Saint-Germain because he will be an extreme great signing for Paris Saint-Germain. Let me know in the comments down below, do you want Bernardo Silva at Paris Saint-Germain? Yes or no? Other than that, smash the like button, subscribe to the PSGINT YouTube channel, and as always, allez, Paris!